So we'll begin today by taking a look at the Stanley Dovetail Tongue and Groove plane. This is the iron. It's the large. It's small, medium, and large. It's a bevel down iron, and you can see the top adjuster that snugs it into the plane. You can also see that I need a spur block. A spur block is, as you recall, the method by which you hold a spur to the outer edge of the cutter. It's secured with two screws. This is the larger of the two spur blocks. Between the two spur blocks, you're able to manage spurs on either side of all three cutter sizes. The largest of the four irons is actually a tongue cutter. I'm going to use this. I'm going to set this up as a tongue cutter, even though it only has the large iron, the large cutter. I'm using the wrong one now that I realize it. But I'll use the GP screwdriver to secure the spur block. So just pretend that this is actually the tongue cutter. What we'll do next is take a look at the rods. There are two rods that ship standard with the Stanley 444. And these secure into two sets of holes, upper holes, lower holes. A simple twist in, and then I'll reach over to my handy 8-penny galvanized box nail and snug them in. That is the bevel fence. The bevel fence is able to mount over the T-bolt or over the short arms. So the fence arms, as I pointed out. Here it's secured over the fence arms, and this is the square fence. The square fence actually has the depth adjuster plate on it, so we'll loosen that up and allow it to swing out of the way. Then you can go over to the T-bolt with the square fence, bring the adjuster plate back in place, thumb screw it tight, and you're good to move on. It adjusts to the shoulder depth when you have the square fence on there. So I'm going to modify it, and then you can see where this fence actually slides up and down. Very unusual in that it does that. Don't want too much play in that. Up and down is just fine. So what we're going to do here is make a tongue, and as I said, assume that I had the tongue cutter in there and not the third size, and I think I've actually swapped it out by the time I get to doing this part of the demo. Work holding is something I'll explore later in another entry, but right now you can see it's a series of back and forth strokes on a piece of work to create the tongue, and that's what we're doing right here. The cutter is in place. The square fence is used obviously to square up the work against the body of the plane. Here you can see the bottom of the tongue has already been cut. This is a series of back and forth actions to bring the shoulder and the depth of the tail all the way to the end of the board. Works pretty quickly, and it's easy to see when you're done. How good of a cut is it? It's not bad at all. It's very exaggerated, but for what we need to do here and for what you needed to see here, that's it. Looks very good to me.